Mulligans and Hackers Golf podcast, special guest episode number 4, I do believe. I know it's been a while, guys. I'm Chris.
Episode number 3.
Oh, episode number 3, Alvin says.
We'll be on 4 too if you want us to be, just so we can take care of that.
And we got Derek and Dominic from Save Par Podcast. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks. This is our first actual episode that we've been the
guest
guests,
on. Yeah.
So appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Yeah, that's cool. So we were just a guest on your podcast, and now you're the guest on our podcast. So that's pretty cool too.
Going back to back.
Yeah, and I think we're releasing them on the same day, correct?
Correct. Monday, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Monday
Awesome.
it is.
Monday it is.
So, fellas, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
We are in the Save Par Golf headquarters right now, downtown Minneapolis. The whopping it's 21 degrees right now.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like 21 though.
The wind has been absolutely brutal. We're kind of in the same boat with you guys. I think we're ready for the warm weather. It's hard to
So
watch.
is that 21 degrees Fahrenheit?
Fahrenheit.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys.
We're in Canada.
Yeah, so it's different. Yeah, so 21 degrees.
That's like really cold in Celsius.
No, it's only like minus 10.
Oh yeah, okay, well, only minus 10.
Only minus 10. I know.
Yeah,
right?
so it's
That's not that
20.
bad.
It's 21, but the real feel is 7.
Yeah. So we're definitely excited and eager to get out and play some golf here. I know we talked earlier on the other episode about how you guys are going to be hitting the simulator tomorrow, I believe, right?
Yep.
So we get some swings in. So we have a place I played not too long ago. It's called Three Jack. It's right downtown here, and it's a really nice bar restaurant, but they have like 6 really nice simulators, and they have PXG clubs. So I've never really used PXG before, but normally I bring my own clubs. But it's a really cool atmosphere even if you don't play golf. But I've got some swings in at Three Jack, so it's been nice to loosen up a little bit. But it definitely gets you. It's hard because it gets you excited to play, but at the same time, I know really we still have another probably 2 months.
Yeah.
So
I'm not really a fan of the simulators, but I still like to go and swing golf clubs.
got to
yeah.
loosen up a little bit. Yep, exactly. I agree with you.
So, fellas,
That I can get.
this is the question I've been asking myself since we've been communicating, chatting for a little while. Okay, you got to tell me and just explain what Save Par podcast, or not necessarily the podcast is, but what Save Par is.
Sure. So Save Par Golf was originally started. I started it. I don't know the exact date, but it was several years ago. And I've said this before. It's kind of a funny little story, but I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the TV show Duck Dynasty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So my younger cousin was obsessed with Duck Dynasty. He used to watch it all the time. And so he was it's gotta be about 6-7 years ago, probably. And so he started this fan page, Duck Dynasty fan page on Instagram. And, me, him, and my uncle would be watching the show. And next thing you know, he'd have like 20,000 followers. And I'm like, what the heck is this, he's doing? And then he got really into the GoPro setting or in the GoPro industry. So he started a GoPro page and it blew up. Like he was getting free stuff all the time. And I'm thinking, I'm obsessed with golf. I love golf. Why not try to start a page for golf and try to get some cool stuff and try to grow the game. So it was the weekend of the Masters. I can't remember which year it was, but that's when it started, and it continued to grow from there. It went from posting memes, videos, just all golf related content, and it just kind of continued to grow. You had, the thing with social media is you have to stay really active. And so it was kind of a burnout for a little while. You just get so, I don't know, what's the word?
You do so much of it
Yeah.
that just becomes overwhelming because it's a repetitive process. You're
That's
posting, you're hashtagging, and
We don't have to worry about that right now because we're not doing a lot of content at all.
But it's fun though, right? That's kind of why you guys have kind of probably started Mulligans and Hackers, and that's kind of why I started. So I love the game of golf, and I was like, well, let's do something fun and see where it will take us. And so I just kind of continued to plug away, and it was just a side gig. So I don't do this full time. Probably would like to down the road. I know it's starting to grow quite a bit, so we definitely want to kind of take it to the next level. But so then me and Dom met in college, and we were talking golf, and I was like, yeah, I was telling him about my account, and then we got, started hanging out quite a bit, playing golf together. And then was it 2 summers ago?
Yeah, he's like, you're opinionated. I'm like, yeah, I like to talk. And Derek goes, well, I have like the following, and yeah, exactly. So it's like, well, why don't we start a podcast? So it kind of came up with this idea, and as around a year ago, where I was like, hey, like if you're serious about this, this is the time. Let's do it. We started on Instagram. We got the name, so we couldn't like have to think of anything like different than what we planned.
Yeah, we want to kind of keep it like
Safe
basically the same.
Yeah.
So we can kind of use it together.
So yeah, and our first episode launched Masters weekend.
Yeah, I think it did as well. It kind of worked out that way. So we're still new into the podcast game. Obviously, we do have we're at what 29 episodes, I think now.
Yeah. So 29 when theirs comes out.
Yep. So we'll have 29 episodes. And it kind of goes the same with the Instagram. You have to be kind of very active, and so that's kind of our goal. This was kind of like our season 2, so to speak, starting in January. So it was to get more guests on, and just try to get different aspects of the game, whether it's mulligans and hackers, just people that are just starting out but love the game, and just getting an insight on what that's all about from people that are creating clubs. We had haymakers.
Haywood.
I'm all over the place right now. I was just on Instagram right before this, and
Haywood. You had
Haywood.
We had Haywood on.
They're out of BC, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I actually have their.
Canada, right?
Yeah, I have their. I bought a set of clubs last year, and they are very solid irons.
Yeah.
So
I've looked at those clubs quite a bit.
I have his utility iron. So it's 18 degrees, super nice. I've not hit it just because it's still cold outside and there's no way to, but super nice. The quality is like super nice. I can't say super nice enough, but it honestly feels better than a lot of bigger name club companies are putting out.
Yeah, and that was kind of the reason why I kind of went that direction, because I was looking for new irons, and I talked to him going back and forth, and so I definitely suggest it or recommend it if you're in the market for new irons, because they are comparable to a lot of the higher end clubs at a lot cheaper price.
It's really affordable,
very affordable. Yeah. And again, I'm not trying to push their products necessarily by plugging them.
I follow them. I follow Haywood on Instagram. I've actually been into a couple of the live chats, and just, But again, in this whole social media world, it's really really close world, because you guys are in Minneapolis, he's out in BC, we're here in Alberta, and we, that circle is there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that was trying to get me to get some. I've been thinking about getting new wedges, and he's been pumping Haywood every
I've been
time.
throwing them out there. Hey, I know Haywood makes really good wedges, because I think that's where they started, was with wedges, correct?
Yeah, they started with their wedges, and then I believe
sets.
Yeah, so it went with wedges, I think is what he said, and I it was either putter next, or the putter was the last thing. I can't remember, but it was wedges, and now they have 4 different styles of irons. I think they had 3. They were just releasing a 4th,
and now he's coming out with woods and drivers.
Yeah,
I saw the posts on those, and I actually did shoot him a message and say, they look fire.
That's exactly
same. Real good.
But that's kind of the whole purpose of Save Par Golf, it and the podcast. We're trying to get different aspects of the game. So we're trying to get, again, we have club makers. We're trying to get some former golfers, PGA players, things like that. We're just trying to.
We want to make the game as easily accessible and show that anybody can pick up this game. You just have to want to.
Yeah, you just got to look at us. Anybody can pick up and play this game.
It's incredibly difficult to play, but anybody can do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It all depends on how like serious you want to get, right? Because sometimes it's, for me, like for a while it was like I had a decent swing, but I wasn't taking it all the way back. It was a really short swing, so it was like, then I kind of was like, I got obsessed with like trying to change my swing, and then I was like, okay, now I have a handicap, and now I'm trying to constantly, and that was just my perspective of what I wanted to do. But again, there's so many different walks of life of players. Like, you got a guy that might have only played one or 2 rounds a year, but he, so we're trying to grow the game. trying to get more females involved too as well, and just the kids, the youth. And so that's kind of using Save Par Golf. Granted, it's been nice. It's been growing quite a bit. We're trying to be a voice for
like the newer, like
not
necessarily
to the game.
Yeah, not necessarily generation, but just like people who go, oh, I could do that. Yeah, you can just pick up a club. It doesn't have to be an expensive club. You go to go to the thrift store.
You don't even have to start off doing it well. Just start, right?
Absolutely. And so we had Luke with Leaderboard Customs on a couple episodes ago as well, and that was just that's another part of the game. I think it's starting to be more exciting because of the apparel, the shoes. I think shoes, I'm a big shoe guy. Dom's a huge shoe guy, so we're really big into collecting shoes. So I think like the transformation of the golf game itself is transitioning into, there was a lot of heat for wearing a sweatshirt on the, Justin Thomas was wearing a sweatshirt during a practice run or having to walk in.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and so like I think like they're trying to break through that with wearing now the Jordan 1 golf shoes. They're just different types of options now that you have, because most people think of the PGA Tour, or back in the day it was that khaki pants or black pants and a polo, or it was very boring. Kind of boring, so to speak.
Yeah, it's starting to appeal to a younger generation, which, for being such an old sport like golf is, and how old the PGA is, and the long history of it, I think it's a really positive direction for them to go. But yeah, I mean, you look back and they all have the baggy khaki pants, the kind of wingtip shoes, the whatever,
the old foot joys.
Yeah, now it's all of a sudden, almost borderline streetwear, where it's like, man, these guys.
Terrell Hatton wore a hoodie on the course too once.
I think
flack for that.
Well, even the Ryder Cup, during the Ryder Cup, the Americans, that was part of their apparel, was the one day they were wearing the American hoodies, or like the half hoodies or whatever they were, and they looked pretty slick.
Yeah, I think so. I think, like it's that whole like look good, play good, or feel good, feel good, play good, or look good, play good. And that's that same thing. It's like you have a little bit more confidence. You might not be shooting record scores by any means, but you got a new polo on or a new pair of shoes that you just got that you really like you just feel a little bit more comfortable on the course, where you're not really being judged for that, where I think a lot of times before that, like even like executive courses or par 3 courses, where we said it before, like we'll sometimes show up in shorts and a t-shirt if we're going to play a par 3 course. We're not taking the game super serious, but we still are playing serious or wanting to have fun, you know what I mean? So I think trying to break through that barrier of the clothing, the shoes, and that it's just another outlet for us to kind of help grow the game, help these other artists and designers that might have some really cool apparel, clothing that we can try to help push their product as well.
Or John Daly type look.
Yeah, the loudmouth golf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's actually my golf bag. I have a loudmouth golf bag, actually, is my main bag. It's got some crazy line design on it, but
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So it's come a long way. Again, we just hit a little over 100,000 followers, which is crazy. I never really thought that it would, that wasn't my goal necessarily, but now that I know like we have a large following, it's really cool to be able to help some of these people that might not have that platform where we can try to.
We really appreciate you doing this with us too, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we appreciate it as well. I said we're on the podcast side, our goal is to continue to keep pushing new episodes weekly and have new guests on. So again, we appreciate you being on our podcast, and we appreciate all the supporters and all the listeners. He said we're still up and coming and still growing, but we love it. It's a good time. He said we chatted before the first episode, and we chatted for a while after. So it's just a fun thing to do. I think just being able to talk golf in general is just, it's really easy to talk about that kind of stuff. I feel like we could literally talk for hours. So it's
absolutely. So you guys talk about a lot of other sports on the pod, but how much golf do you guys actually play?
Not as much as we'd like. I feel like that's the easy answer, and that's what a lot of people say. I I know last year my season kind of ended at a back issue, and I didn't swing a golf club since like August until like November when I had like a bachelor party. And then since then, I have not touched my clubs other than put the new ones in my bag. That's been the extent of it. I'm hoping to play more this year just as my schedule gets established. I've had a lot of like promotions happen. So it's like, work has to come, school, stuff like that. So hopefully as my schedule starts to become more and more open, or not even open, but just set in stone,
Sure.
I can start to play more. I think I play as much as like an average person would.
Well,
try.
We would typically try to get up when we first started recording too. There's a little short par 3 course down there. And so we would try to play that before we recorded. So we'd always try to get like one par 3 round in a week. That was and we were doing that
for
a while.
few times.
Yeah. But I should have counted my rounds. I didn't count how many rounds I've played this year. I know we talked and you played quite a bit, Chris. But yeah, that is the one thing that I feel like the older that I've gotten and the busier I've gotten, the rounds of golf have definitely decreased. And every year I say, I'm going to play more golf this year.
Ours is going the other way. Ours,
yeah, so you're
playing it all to playing tons, right?
Yeah, but we get out a decent amount. I used to play probably 3-4 times a week, maybe more. But within the last 2 years, probably probably say twice a week.
Yeah.
Whether it's an 18-hole course or a par 3, at least got to get out there once a week and hit some balls.
And I'm really bad at counting. There are days where I'll go out and just not even have a scorecard just so I could, get the repetition, get the rhythm, get the tempo. So yeah, I don't really know. I don't count. I probably should. Maybe this year I'll count. But
we have some apps where we actually record our scores into, so it counts your rounds for you. So
yeah, I use 18 birdies. He uses. Well, do you use 18 birdies this year, Alvin, or you?
I used 18 birdies this year. Yeah.
18 birdies. Yeah.
I use Garmin.
Okay.
Yeah. Garmin. Yeah, we've heard of that one as well.
So I have like the USGA like the handicap app. So like that's where I draw my scores. So that's the other kind of cool thing. Like I have a handicap and I golf with Dom and.
I have a handicap.
You do have a handicap?
I do.
Oh, okay.
Congrats.
So he does have a handicap now. Okay. Well, I didn't think you did. But in any case.
Yeah, no, Garmin will do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we said we're both competitive, and I definitely want to continue to improve my handicap, but at the same time, I'm not one to judge. I don't like slow pace of play. I'll tell you that. We do have that is an issue I think all over the place, but especially here in Minnesota. But other than that, we're all for growing the games. I don't know. There's got to be.
Chris, we played around in Tabor this year.
How long did it take us to do that one? Yeah, that was so bad. Speaking of slow play,
it was like 5 hours to do 18 holes.
Oh my God. We cruised through the front, and then we got to hole 12. Yeah, I want to say 12. And 12 to 18 took us like 2.5 hours. Because there was a group in front of us. 2 guys and their girlfriends, pretty sure they had no idea how to golf. At least I think like one of them knew how to golf and the other 3 didn't. And
we would roll up on their tee box and there'd be 4 groups in ahead of us waiting to tee off.
Oh no. Yeah. That's kind of like sometimes how it is here.
So that's tough to play golf that way. That's Alvin gets pretty frazzled when we play golf that way. It's not good.
Golf frazzles me anyways, but
it's just an extra add-on. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't really grow the game. Really, it just makes it worse for everyone, you know.
But again, that's one day out of our entire season, and you know you can put that to the side. I mean, we played Tabor. I hadn't played Tabor in like 20 years before that, so it's still just nice to be on the course, right? So you guys, are you active in any other sports?
For me, I do. I'm not active in any other sports. I do run on the treadmill right now, obviously with the weather, but I've been really into the Peloton bike. We have one up at in our complex here. And so I got really big into the Peloton rides and the running. But I used to play basketball quite a bit and I used to coached for a few years. So, but other than that, I'm a huge sports fan, as you know, I've listened to the other episodes, but no, other than that, pretty much just golf and running and Peloton.
I played baseball. Right now it's just golf though. Yeah, I like to eat, so it kind of gets in the way.
Yeah, I feel you on that one, bro. Yeah, buddy.
I'm a former baseball player. I love baseball. I have season tickets to our Twins
Nice.
here, so I like to do that. But yeah, the really only sport is golf, and I know people get tired of me talking about it, but I don't know.
We won't get tired of you
I-
talking about it, buddy.
No, I know. I love it here.
But I can't wait to talk to you guys then about once baseball actually gets up and gets running. We'll talk about baseball. We'll talk about hockey.
Oh yeah.
Not huge into. I'm not huge into the NFL, but I do know Cousins is the quarterback for the Vikings.
Yep.
For now, yeah.
Yep.
For now.
Yep.
And Chris is a huge Patriots fan. I'll give you that.
Well, that's a good team to root for. I mean, for the last
20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Well,
big
growing up, I was I was big into college football, and I just happened to follow Brady all the way through. And I used to actually be a Raiders fan, and then when Brady beat the Raiders with the tuck rule, I kind of flipped to a Patriots fan. Just been there since, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a huge Brady fan. So when he went to Tampa Bay, I mean, I had to cheer for him too. So
I'm going to throw my age out here. I used to be a Dolphins fan when Marino was the quarterback. Okay?
Marino. Yeah.
I'm going to date myself right there, and I don't watch the NFL much anymore. But there's the date right there.
No, he's one of the best quarterbacks ever to not win a ring.
Mm-hmm.
He was very good. Yeah. So we're huge Vikings fans, obviously, and our next door neighbor, the Green Bay Packers.
Ooh.
They obviously are. It's funny.
I don't even watch football anymore, but I get totally
with good old regular season Rodgers over there.
What's that?
I said with good old regular season Rodgers, who always chokes on playoff times.
Exactly. The problem is though, see, they have a Super Bowl win or a few Super Bowl wins, and so there's that always ends the argument. So
That's fair.
As much as we want to talk bad about their team, they always have that's their leg up on us. But
it's kind of like the Yankees fans saying that they have 21 rings, but they haven't done anything in the past decade. It's just like, okay, cool, but
that's fair.
What else have you done?
Kind of like the Montreal Canadiens in hockey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many cups do they have? 20 something, but they haven't done anything for 30 years.
And this year they're bad.
They're really bad.
Yeah, they're really bad.
Well, so Minnesota Wild here, they're considered we're considered the state of hockey. But again, we haven't, and we do. Minnesota's very big in hockey, obviously, but we've never won a Stanley Cup with the Wild.
Well, I mean, I'll date myself here. I'm Minnesota North Stars, dudes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember the finals against Pittsburgh, So
it was and that's like kind of the beauty with our podcast is we get it's golf and things, we start off talking golf and then all of a sudden next thing you know we're talking about food or we're talking about other sports. So we try to obviously
we try to touch base with the golf stuff.
Yeah, that's
after that it's wherever
it's free reign, wherever you guys want to go. That's just kind of how we are. We just kind of get off track. So we that's kind of the other cool thing about talking on these podcasts is we like to try to talk other things as well, not just golf related. So do you guys are you guys big on following like right now with the Genesis Invitational? Are you guys up to?
We actually, when we took our little break there between our two podcasts, Chris went down and ran through where we were sitting after round 3. Yeah,
crazy. I mean, 19 under.
Yeah, Neiman at
21.
Yeah, he finished 19 under. Yeah, but he was at 21 under. Yeah, now I finished at 19 unders. It's just and so many of the other guys are playing so good, and I mean he's I think 3 ahead of Young. I think he's 16 under. But other than that, I think the next guy's.
Hovland's 1 more back. Hovland's 4 back.
Is he 4 back? Okay.
Yeah. And then I think Thomas is 5 back. So, and then there's a bunch of guys that are 9 back at 10 under.
I like Neiman. I think he's awesome. It's crazy. He's just a skinny, not a real tall guy, but the power that he generates, it's just absolutely insane.
The ball explodes whenever he hits it. I don't know how to explain it, but he hits that ball and the ball goes. It's incredible.
So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully he wins it, but I don't know. He'd have to have a real big meltdown. But that young guy is not too far off, so he's good too.
Well, again, 5 or 6 stroke swing on final day is easily within reach, right?
For sure.
Go ahead, Chris.
So we always like to ask everybody when they're on the podcast, what's in your guys' bag?
That's a good question.
Oh, I want to go first because mine are all new.
Somebody's excited.
So I guess we'll start with my driver and we'll work my way down.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm playing the Cobra King F8 Plus,
Nice.
so that's relatively new. My 3-wood is gonna be the Cobra Speed Zone. Otherwise, I flip that between my 5-wood, which I have from Mizuno. I think it's the STX something 9045, something like that. I don't remember.
Nice.
And then I have my Haywood utility iron, which I really like. The new ones, I just got the Cobra LTDX irons, so that's my 5-through gap.
Sweet.
And then I have played Callaway wedges that I had customized by House of Golf out in California. So those are super cool.
The most impressive part though is he doesn't use a putter. That's how good his chipping game is.
Oh no, I have a putter. I love it. I have the Ping Answer Karsten 2.
Nice.
So I really like it. I love the grip. It's the same grip Tiger uses.
It works 60% of the time.
Every time. Yeah, and then I have like a big Sun Mountain bag, and I love it.
Nice.
Yeah. I have the Cobra Speed Zone driver, which I absolutely love. I've had several Cobra drivers, and I think their drivers are fantastic. So that's what I've been using. I actually do need to up my game on my 3-wood. I have an old school Callaway X driver that needs to be retired. Not driver, 3-wood that needs to be retired. So that's going to be my next purchase. Will be a 3-wood, and then I currently bag I have a 4-through pitching wedge on my Haywood. My Haywood irons. They are the MBs are the MB irons. I think they're the
Do you have the signatures?
Oh yeah, they're the signatures. I'm sorry.
Signatures,
They're
yeah.
the signatures. And they're like the aesthetic look to them is just fantastic, but they're all customizable. So I got the which shafts did I get put on?
The
those?
KBS tour.
KBS tours.
The fact that I know more about you.
I know, right? I'm drawing a blank. Who knows what's in my bag? He should just give it, you know. And then I have my Lucky Golf USA
I have one of those
gold
too.
wedges. Have you seen those before? So it's called Lucky.
I have seen them online, but I've never seen them in person.
I have a black one. The gold is
Nice.
a little too crazy for me. So mine's a 58 degree. So I have 56, 58, 60.
Nice.
Yep. And I have a 50. So I have Callaway 52 and a 56 degree, and then I have my lucky wedge. It's kind of weird. Like I've never seen a gold wedge before, but it's kind of cool pulling that bad boy out, and people are like, "What the heck do you have?"
It shines in the sunlight.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's pretty sweet. So that's what I have for my my wedges, and then for my putter, I'm trying to think of what I have in the bag right now.
You've had a couple.
Yeah, I have
Just
a couple different.
Trident.
I have the Trident putter. That one's pretty sick. And then I also do have a
Lucky one. Didn't they send you one?
I got a Lucky Golf too, but I'm trying to think of the one I have in my bag right now. I can't remember, but I think it's the Trident. It's all blacked out. I don't know if you've seen Trident before, but I used that pretty much all year last year. So that's probably my biggest issue with my golf game right now too. Is the putter.
Oh boy, I hear that.
It's like is it Arnold Palmer? There's golf and then there's golf and then there's putting. I don't know who. I think that's his quote.
It might have been his quote. Yeah.
But yeah, for me that's what it is. I don't have too big of an issue getting off the tee and getting on the green, but putting is just whether it's reading it or judging the speed. It's just hard to get both.
It's a different animal.
And
Yeah,
see, it's
absolutely.
funny because putting is one of my best parts of my game. It always has been. That's kind of where I kind of excel.
Sure.
Drive for show, putt for dough.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. But no, we that like we talked earlier about that is like not having any lessons, and we're kind of I think you said a long time ago you did have a few lessons, right?
Yeah, I took lessons. My grandparents put me in lessons at a young age, and it was one of the things where I did it, I took them, and then I didn't touch golf clubs again for like 10 years. So really, did I really take lessons at
Yeah.
that point?
And
I don't know.
you didn't really apply those lessons that you had. I
No,
guess.
not right away. It
And
took 10 years.
Same for me too. Like I've pretty much been self-taught. It was all pretty much just watching YouTube videos and just kind of what's comfortable for myself. But I've watched some of the YouTube videos, and it's like the putting videos and things like that, and just different techniques. And it's like one day you see a PGA pro tour player, doing the claw grip, and then all of a sudden that didn't work for him. So like the next week he's doing another. Like I don't know how much of it is just more like psychological, it's in their head, So, but yeah, I'm pretty terrible at putting.
Yeah, the only YouTube stuff I watch is the Rick Shields stuff. I feel like he's the only one who like really dumbs it down enough for everybody to say, okay.
I watched his whole driver setup video, and then actually for the first 3 quarters of the season, it really helped me.
Yeah, if I don't watch him, my short game's probably my strong part. I watched a lot of Phil Mickelson when I was younger. So watching him kind of break down his approach to being around the green, to being like 100 yards out, that's kind of what I do as I go, okay, what am I going to do? How high do I want it? How low do I want it? What's the wind like? And that'll kind of dictate how I stand and stuff like that. But yeah, putting, I'm lost. Driving, I'm lost. Irons and wedges, yeah, I got them.
So par 3 is really good then.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's about it, though.
Nice. Okay, let me know what's in your guys' bag.
So just give us a rundown now of where do you go with Save Par? The podcast, the page, the brand, what's down the road for you guys?
Sure. So right now, kind of the cool, exciting thing that we got for Save Par Golf is we're hosting our first annual tournament, which will take place in June 11th. Yeah, June 11th, which is a Saturday. So we're really excited about that because it's going to be our first tournament. And again, it's like an annual tournament. So we're planning on having multiple tournaments. And our goal down the road with that is hosting a tournament here locally, which we're having this year. And then moving forward, we want to have like 2 tournaments a year where we do one tournament here in Minnesota, and then we'll do one, whether it's out west or out down south, maybe where it's warm, where we can host something out of the States. So we can still play
down in Phoenix at where they play the Waste Management. Yeah,
exactly. Right.
It's pretty rowdy down there.
Yeah. And I don't know if you know this, but next year it's the same weekend as the Super Bowl, which it always is, but the Super Bowl is in Phoenix.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I just read that. I totally forgot. So it's going to be, I couldn't even imagine what the prices are to even get out there. But
you could get super drunk and kind of wander over to the Super Bowl. That'd be pretty fun.
I have 2 birds with 1 stone.
Exactly. I have played both of those courses, and they are really cool. And you probably wouldn't realize what they look like without all the stands and all that kind of stuff. But they're
I've heard people say that they've played there without the grandstands, and it doesn't even look like remotely close to what it is on TV.
Totally different. And you can get out there. I mean, in the summer it's super hot, but we went out there last year, and I mean, we played in 118 degree weather, and it was absolutely like crazy. We played 54 holes. Played 36 in one day, and then we played another 36. So we played 72 holes in 2 days in 118 degree weather.
I wasn't invited. It wasn't
true.
It was with my 2 of my brothers and one of my buddies. It was fun, but it was like dirt cheap. But it was for that reason. Like, we weren't really wanting to play at certain times. I mean, I've never seen a cart girl show up so fast on every other hole because they're just giving you ice just to keep your drinks cold. So it was hot, extremely hot. It's a different type of heat. It's that dry heat, but it's still hot regardless. That temperature is crazy. And that's 118 degrees Fahrenheit. Just so I don't know, it's blistering hot. But so we're thinking somewhere along the lines of doing something out west in Arizona,
California, maybe.
Yeah,
just
or
we
even
know people out there.
Pebble Beach.
Yeah. That's a bucket list thing for sure. But even Vegas though would be very cool. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like, as far as like we want to get more involved with like doing tournaments, hosting events. I think also too would be like we love your idea we were talking about before, but even doing like maybe like a annual like meetup where we could get other like influencers or people that are really into the game of golf, and then we could try to even bring maybe some like brands or companies out there too that have other products. So maybe it's kind of like a small PGA expo, so to speak, like get a bunch of just people and register a certain amount and do something like that. So we definitely want to try to do more promoting, tournaments, and then Dom, you can kind of with the podcast.
On the podcast side, I know we always talk about having like a studio and stuff like that where it's just like our own space. I'd like to take it to like the moon, stuff like that, just see where it can go. There's nothing like really specific that I'd like to hit or generally do, but I think it's super fun just being able to interact with people on a different platform other than just talking to people through your like your phone or social media or something like that. I think so far we're doing okay. Yeah, it's definitely a different grind than it is like just social media posting.
I agree, because we get the other side of it of trying to just get content out there, but and again, I think I gave you guys a shout out before to say, hey, you guys that do it regularly, week in, week out, that's pretty impressive. I don't think me and Chris will ever get to that point. We're just getting into the casual conversations like you would if you were at a golf course and you run into somebody, say, hey man, what's happening? And you get caught up that way. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where our podcast is. And I think that's where our podcast will go like next year when we start doing guests. But for you guys that just do this week in, week out, whether it's just you two, Derek and Dom, or you guys have a guest on, like you do it week in, week out, there's huge props to that, dudes.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah. We
like, I love all the guests we have, each and every one of them. I've loved having I love all the.
It just gives you a different perspective, like on when you guys are talking. Yeah, okay, that's cool and everything, but then you get somebody else added in there, and it's like that's a different voice, right? And that's just different things you can bounce off of each other. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Like I know I'd love to have like a PGA, not even like a pro, but just someone who knows what they're doing. Like my favorite.
I'd like to have a podcast guy on that just knows what he's doing.
Right? Yeah. Well, like my favorite.
We're so rank amateur here, right?
Yeah.
No, I think that's part of like the beauty of it, though.
It's the charm.
Part of the appeal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
everyone can relate.
I look at me and Chris, and I mean, we really, we just got involved in golf in like the last 2 years, and we're the gear aspect of it, like the gear nut type thing, is starting to come. Like when, the new releases, and we could talk about gear forever and a day, but, like Stealth and the Callaway Rogue, right? Start talking and start getting into that stuff. And I'll be honest with you, for me, I don't know about you, Chris, but you can speak on this in a sec here. But like I get animated and it's like, holy smokes. Now I wasn't too impressed with the Stealth. I was like, wow, they put a barbecue on the front of that.
I loved the memes on that.
The memes were wild. But like that Callaway Rogue, like I looked at that and I went, wow, like where does the R&D come from to put that out? But then Cobra came out with theirs, and didn't the new Cobra look like
yeah, go ahead. So, I know we talked about it a few episodes ago, but like the one that really excited me before the Cobra was announced was the Callaway Rogue, because of the jailbreak and stuff like that. Yeah. To me, just putting carbon fiber on the face is no big deal, and tests have kind of shown that it does not help your average golfer do any better. I think it's proven that they're basically a sim, but they look different. I don't know.
I wasn't impressed. Impressed.
I'm a Callaway guy, so I have the old Epic flashes.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
like what Callaway's doing, I think is like amazing with their jailbreak and the way it works, and it's just like, it makes so much sense. I don't know why more brands aren't doing it. And then Cobra right now is like, I feel like when they debuted and what they're putting into their R&D and what they're putting into their clubs and everything is kind of scary, because they're a brand that nobody likes to talk about because they're not a Callaway, they're not Titleist, they're not tailor-made.
Although I do have Bryson.
I was gonna say it helps when you have Bryson out there pounding the ball.
It doesn't help when Bryson goes on a golf course and says this driver sucks. That
sucks. Yeah, exactly.
But like I wasn't looking at irons, right? I was like, okay, like I like mine. I had old Cobras. I saw the lofts and what they were doing with their LTDX system and how their faces were milled and everything. And then I texted Derek. I'm like, how much do you think these cost? He goes, it's probably expensive. They're cheaper than the TaylorMade. They're cheaper than the Callaway. They're cheaper than Titleist. Like, everything they're doing for that price, I think is super amazing.
I went with I got custom fit last year, and I went with Mizuno's. And I mean, I really didn't know what I wanted at the time. I just went and seen our local club fitter, and he kind of gave me a club fitting, and he said, like, you know, I guess there's been studies done with the tour pros, and they basically said, you know, if you weren't given a sponsorship by anybody, what would you play? And the vast majority, I guess, said the Mizuno's. So he kind of twisted my arm, and that's what I ended up with. And I'm actually quite happy with them. So
Sure.
I mean, you read, yeah, you read
Again, I'm
reviews.
still not bitter about that, but he did win.
It's like you read reviews, and the most that are overwhelmingly supportive are Mizuno. Whether it's their irons, or I had a 5-wood, and I loved the 5-wood. Just the feel of it and the sound of it was super nice. But they're another brand that nobody seems to talk about, and it's because it's not a TaylorMade, a Callaway, a Titleist.
So I'll throw it out there. My driver, 3-wood, 5-wood are all TaylorMade. But I went with Wilson irons because again, there's a backstory there of like the first golf round I ever played was in Manitoba when we were actually moving from Newfoundland to Alberta, like, you know, 25 plus years ago. And we stayed at a hotel, and right across the street was a golf course. And I never picked up a golf club, and I was like 19 years old. I seen it on TV. I'm like, I don't even know what this is. And my dad was like, hey, we should go over and try this. And I'm like, yeah, that's easy, right? Let's go try this. So we went over and we rented clubs. And again, we're traveling out here traveling out west, right? And it's like, we need to get on the road. So we went over and we rented clubs, and the set that they had handed me was Wilson. And that name stuck in my head for decades. Sure. Like, oh, Wilson, right? So then I know Wilson went out of like making golf clubs for a while there. Then when we were doing this, getting into the whole golf thing, I was like, well, I had a set of golf clubs, Arnold Palmer Prodigy graphite shaft ones that I'd had in the closet for like 15 years. They've seen the golf course probably about fucking
they're still brand new
10 times, right? So I'm like, well, if we're going to do this, I'm going to get new clubs. And I didn't get fitted like Chris, but I think this year might be the year that I just go and see a club fitter. I found through Wilson, and I've been in contact with Wilson, I found out who does the Wilson fittings close by. So that might be my next route. But I have the Wilson D7 React Face golf clubs. So it's those golf improvement type clubs. They got the fat base on them.
Cavity back.
Yeah.
Cavity back. That's the ones. Yeah. So, so in talking with Wilson, I was like, okay, so where do I go from here? Not that my game is improving to get away from that, but where do I go? Like the next step up? And he's like, well, we have the D9 forged out, but if you wait a little while, I think we're coming up with something that's going to replace the D9s. So I might go that route. So when the new set comes out, I might just go see the club fitter that he's recommended here in town and say, okay, get fit with the new Wilsons. And because Wilson is my brand, I have my golf bag's Wilson. I've got a 4 hybrid in the bag that's Wilson Pro Staff, and
they're starting.
Again, I use the Kirkland Costco wedges.
I've heard good things about them.
I mean, for me, and again, for a hacker and a budget golfer, I'll throw it out there that I'm a budget golfer. Those things served me great this year. They don't hold up well to the wear and tear of bunkers. I'll say that. But again, you're paying $150 here in Canadian for 3 wedges. Well, that's one wedge of we'll say a top brand, right? Yep. So you just go pick up the box, and again, if they don't work, if you wear them out in a season, you go spend $150 and get another set next year, right?
Yeah, no, that's a pretty good deal. I started off with when I really got obsessed with golf, I started off with also the cavity backs, really thick sole. But they were the Callaway Diablo Edge irons. Yep. Yeah. Pretty popular.
And again, it's cool because we're starting to get into the gear tech. And we're going back in the history of the brands. So we're figuring stuff out too, right? Yeah. So I know what those are.
So I was a big Callaway guy too when I first started. And I think this speaks for a lot of people, like a lot of new golfers or beginning golfers have issue with driving the ball. It's an inconsistency. And so, I mean, there was a time where I literally had a old school 2-iron in my bag. I didn't even have a driver in my bag because there was no need. It was just taking up space and adding weight to me carrying the bag. So I literally would hit a 2-iron or a 3-iron, and I wasn't bombing the ball by any means, but I was still scoring relatively the same as my buddies that were hitting a driver, right? And finally I ended up, I forget the name of it, but it was a Callaway kind of reminded me of the Nike square driver. It was a square driver, that kind of that era where the square driver was popular. I think it was like a FTIQ something or FTIZ 15. But in any case, I almost hit like every fairway with that driver. It didn't have like, I wasn't bombing the ball by any means, but I was literally finding the short grass. So it was like, that really got my confidence, and like I started to find my swing. So I was literally like all Callaway for like the longest time. And I loved my irons, but same thing, like, you start to kind of, you grow your game a little bit, and you like, now I can start to hit draws a little bit. I'm not a good golfer necessarily by any means, but you start to get a feel of your swing and how you're hitting the ball. And with those forged blade irons, you can work the ball a little bit better. And I love the sound and the contact feel. So I ended up selling my Diablos last year, and then I got the Haywoods. And then for the driver, I had that Callaway in my bag. I mean, my buddies used to make fun of me all the time because, every year that driver that comes out is like the next best thing, right? Every year, doesn't matter what it is.
That's how they got to market it, right?
Exactly. It's the new technology of the future. And so like, I'm using a 10-year-old driver that's like, hey, you're all driving me by 20 or 30 yards, but I'm, again, consistently scoring better or the same as you. So you can talk your smack, but then I started to get my driver down, and now I've been hitting the Cobra, but I would say probably Cobra, and Callaway would be the two of my choice. I've had a few TaylorMades too, and I don't know. I'm not to bash TaylorMade, because I love the aesthetic look on most of their products, and they do have good quality products, but I just never seem to hit them very well. And I don't know if it's, I have plenty of friends that use their what's it, the Sim 3?
Yep.
No, they're
Sim
on
2?
Sim 2.
Sim 2 and the same max, I think.
In the Sim, yeah. I mean, I know a couple of buddies that can bomb the ball with that driver, and it's just I don't know. For me, it's just the Cobra is really kind of stuck, and I've been really consistent. And it's like I don't really need to change a brand necessarily, unless I'm starting to, I'm hitting the ball at 260, or I kind of range from 260 to 280, normally more around the 260 mark, but I'm hitting fairways. And same with Dom. I mean, you have the Cobra.
The King F8 Plus, yeah.
Driver.
I started my first like real set of irons where I were game improvement. So I had the Cobra Max. So it's very similar to like a much newer Diablo.
Yeah, not as thick cavity back, but still like a.
And the first real driver I liked was actually TaylorMade. I had an R7. It was a super quad, so with the 4 adjustable weights. Loved it.
So I've got my 3 TaylorMade 3, which is the R9.
Okay.
Yep.
And I haven't liked TaylorMade since the R7. Like, I don't know what changed. Yeah, I've tried. I go and test hit all of them when I'm bored, because I can just go to like a Dick's Sporting Goods and do it for fun. Why not?
He's actually banned from all Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yeah, I have to go to one in like,
because he hits way too many golf balls.
I have to go to one in like Florida.
Yeah, he'll travel out. He's got a picture of his sign.
But yeah, I mean, I really liked it.
Deny entry.
If you see this man, do not let him hit golf balls.
I really liked that club. And then, I tried the SLDR because I broke the R7, and it just wasn't it for me. And then I had a few different drivers, and then I settled on the Cobra, and I've hit it pretty consistently. For me, I'm comfortable with it. It has nothing to do with really a brand.
I same thing. I mean, I wanted to go with Wilson. Literally, the Wilson D7s is the first new set of irons I ever bought.
Yeah.
Ever. Everything else is always
like, if I fell in love with like a ping, I'd probably be playing a ping,
Yeah.
But
I didn't even mention that. I was going to say that what's the new ping driver? I think it's like the G15 or something. I could be totally off on that, but I will say I did rent clubs. So we were out in Arizona last year, but I went out the year before that as well out there, and I rented clubs. And I think if I were to switch driver, I think that probably would be the next driver I purchased. That ping driver was
super nice.
Yeah, the sound, everything was really nice, but it really depends.
I played with a guy this year in a round, and he was a lefty, and he had one of the, not the newest ping, but the ping driver. And again, being a gear nut, I'm not there yet with ping, but that thing was like, it was an animal. Yeah, and he wasn't, again, he played golf with us, so he's into that Mulligans and Hackers type of territory. But I mean, that thing was just an animal. I mean, the sound and how it came off the club, and you know, a little fade played right into what we were doing. And it was fun to watch. And it's like with our crew, like we have a dozen plus guys that play golf. So when everybody goes to the golf course, it is like it's a golf smorgasbord. There's every brand, every type, and it's just cool to look. Hey, what are you playing? What are you playing? Right? Because we've got Chris, who's a Callaway Mizuno, and me, I'm a Wilson TaylorMade, and then we have, you know, Chris M is a TaylorMade guy, but he does have a set of pings. And I mean, the whole gambit, right? And it's really cool just to get into that side of the tech thing. But let's talk about putters. Okay, so Derek, you didn't quite know what you had in the bag right now.
Yeah, I should have looked, but on our commercial break.
Yeah, you didn't know we were going to ask you about what's in the bag.
Caught me off guard.
So this is what I use.
What is
That
that?
looks slick. Is it a Tommy
armor?
This is a Tommy Armour.
It kind of reminds me of Phil Mickelson's little Cleveland, like his left-handed putter.
Yeah, so it's a Tommy Armour model 708 Silver Scott. Because I was, again, being a Wilson guy,
Yep.
I wanted to get into the 8802, but they don't make the 8802 anymore. And to try and find one for actually a decent price is a bitch.
Sure.
It's literally a bitch. So I was like, I saw this, I pulled out of the trash heap in my backyard because I buy a lot of like secondhand clubs and just like, I take what I want and try it. And I used this last year. And I mean,
it looks like brand new.
no, it's actually, dude,
Maybe just the video.
this is like 1970 something.
I know.
It's in pretty good shape. It
It is,
Yeah,
and I went and got it re-gripped
Oh,
with the
Super
Super
Stroke,
Stroke 3.0. But if I was going to do that again, it'd be the 2.0 extra
XL.
one because I use the saw grip as well.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, I started with I had a multi putter in my bag this past year from when I got my Mizuno irons fitted for me. I had our club fitter make me a 39-inch tall putter because my back sometimes gets sore. And then I had the XL grip put on it. He put a pistol grip on it originally, but I took it off and I put the Super Stroke grip on there. And that's kind of what I was using. It's kind of a half blade, half mallet. And then I also have a Scotty Cameron, which is almost identical to the one that Tiger used to win all of his tournaments.
Sure. Yep.
And then this Christmas, my dad actually bought me a TaylorMade Spider for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So with the single bend in it and the tip tour putter shaft. So I'm pretty excited to get that one out on the course and see how that one feels. I'm kind of a putter nut myself because that's my favorite club in my bag. I like to think that I'm probably one of.
He's being a putter hog because he won't sell any of his other putters.
Out of all of our
I can upgrade from the 1970s.
Yeah, help
get into the
a
new
guy
decade,
out.
right?
Help
Well,
out.
I rotated my putters around to Alvin there at the end of the year after the season was over, just because
I tried the Scotty Cameron. I tried the
Maltby.
The Maltby.
Yeah.
The Maltby
the
actually
Maltby had the
worked
face
really well.
insert. So
Do you like the mallet style? Or you prefer the mallet over like a?
I prefer what I've come to realize is that I prefer the face insert. And I do like the look of the mallet a little more, like a traditional mallet. Like the Spider my dad got me for Christmas is a traditional mallet style. My Maltby is like it's a blade, but then it's got like half a mallet. It's just got your lines on it, so you can line up your putts. So for me, I've come to enjoy the mallets more. Like I'll take out my Scotty once in a while and I'll have a round, and if I'm focused, I'll be good for a couple of rounds and then I'll just lose it and I'll lose the ability to hit the line with it. And then I go back to my mallet and I'm fine. And it's weird that way.
It's kind of like you need like, I felt that way like a while back too with like, I rotate my putters. That's why I didn't know which putter I had in my bag either. Cause I have several. But it's kind of that same, I think we talked about it earlier. The if your driver's just not working for you that day, it's kind of like you just like, all right, I'm gonna use my 3-wood.
Put it in the bag. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what we say. Okay, just put it in the bag, man.
Yep. And then you start to, because honestly, I think once you kind of like get comfortable with your driver and your swing, like it's more mental, right? And if you're just having an off day, it's like, okay, I need to switch something up, and just because maybe you're swinging too hard, you're trying to Bryson DeChambeau hit it 450 yards, and it's like take the 3-wood out for a couple holes. and then get comfortable back and go back to the driver. So it's kind of the same thing with the putter, because I'm that same way. I might have like 2 or 3 really good rounds putting, and then like the next 2 rounds, like I can't make,
You're missing putts you should make, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like, okay, and it's the superstitious stuff and all that comes in. Like, all right, I'm gonna rotate this putter out, and
Yep.
so. No, I love my equipment. Like I said, there's the 3-wood has got to be an upgrade this year. I'm not sure what I gotta hit some more balls and see what I'm gonna go with. But I'd anticipate probably the Cobra, maybe the Callaway Rogue 3-wood, or the definitely said I want to try the Ping too. So we'll see. So what'd you say?
I said you're gonna go with the cheeseburger.
Yeah, go with the cheese. Yeah.
I'm a Callaway guy. I got the Epic Flash driver, and I got an Epic Flash driver a couple years ago. And then actually, funny story, I didn't really have a 3-wood in my bag, and I was like, I need a 3-wood. And then we went to a couple years ago. We were heading to Kananaskis. We stopped at a golf town in Calgary, and they had a brand new. Basically, it was a demo model on sale, and it was the Callaway Epic Flash 3-wood, and I'm like, that matches my driver like perfect.
Like
and it was like 75% off. I'm like, how can I walk out of here without grabbing that thing? Right. So yeah, that's how that made it into my bag. It works great. That's probably my second favorite club. Like if my driver's not working, because there are days where I got a mad slice, and I can use my 3-wood, and like I say, I can hit it usually as long as I can typically hit my driver when I'm slicing it. So then, I'm on the fairway or just off the fairway, and it's usually gives me a better shot in for my approach shot typically.
When he starts off his day playing from on number 1, playing
on the
from
hill?
number 10 fairway,
yeah,
it's usually time to just put the driver in the bag and play with the 3-wood for the rest of the day.
That's right. Yep, that's right.
Because
that's pretty common though for
slices.
Yeah, I mean that's a common shot for us mulligan and hackers though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Us amateurs always struggle with that. It seems like a slice is the predominant shot, right? And I mean, the golf course we play on, everything, if you slice, like it's play into trouble all down the right side all the time.
Every time.
So you got to kind of learn
if you play a fade or a slice, you're playing into trouble every hole.
Yeah. Yeah. It sucks.
Not a good time. See, I'm a link style guy myself. I like to avoid all trees at all costs. However,
a lot of trees up here on some of our courses.
Yeah. I mean, I like the traditional style of golf, but if I'm gonna like pick a course, I would love to play like a link style course. That's my style. Even though I hate bunkers, which is funny because they're normally loaded with bunkers.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a question for both of you now.
Yeah.
So you've played a bunch of courses down in the States, some of the PGA types courses, right?
Yep.
So what's your go-to? Where do you want to go that you haven't played that will be your course to go and say, hey, this is it. This is the course I want to play. And when I've played this course, I will have met my golf journey.
So mine is actually probably not what you're thinking. I feel like everybody's going to say, oh, Pebble or, Augusta, whatever. I want to play Banff real bad.
Banff Springs.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Hey, anytime you guys want to come up here, let us know.
We'll meet you in Banff.
And we'll meet you in Banff. It's only like a 3-hour drive for us.
For me, that ever since I saw pictures of it and then, I watched videos on it, for me, that has been like the course I've wanted to play. And, I've seen pictures of it in the winter and it looks super nice. And for me, that's it. Like,
that's crazy.
Like, obviously we've had guys on here who, we go play Pebble with, the guys from OB or whatever, or, Spyglass, whatever. But for me, Banff kind of symbolizes like it's a trip. You're going to go out of the country, even though it is just to Canada, but you're still out of the country and you're going to go on a trip to play this course that looks just fantastic by the mountains, and the water looks super nice all the time. For me, that's like when I play that to me is like, wow, I'm doing it.
That's a good answer. And it's not as expensive.
Again, not the answer I would expect. Not the answer I would expect, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, and I looked at like stay and play packages. It's really affordable. You just have to like book it and go.
Yeah, it's no different than like you say Banff. So Kananaskis, where we stay, is only like 45 minutes to an hour this side of Banff. And I mean, the golf course out there, you literally have to book like almost a year in advance for us to get our tee times because it's so busy. Yeah, they have 2 sets of 18 and they're just always busy. But it's the plane in the mountains. It's just amazing.
Mhm.
I would say
Chris,
Pebble.
you posted some of your trip last year on our Instagram page.
Yes.
And I mean,
Yeah, I
it's
did. I posted when we went
absolutely spectacular views.
Yeah,
I've never been out there either. So
yeah, we went to Bears Pond, Canmore, which was unbelievable, and that was the first time I'd ever played that one. And then Kananaskis, we've just kind of made it a normal thing to play it because I mean, as an Alberta resident, it costs us, I think it's $95 or something to play 18, and you have to take a cart when you're out there. But I mean, really, to play at that course, it's like, okay, that's not that expensive.
Right.
Okay, Derek, now it's your turn. What's your course?
I would say Pebble, but I played it last week on the simulator. So
You played it in 2K.
Yeah. No, I think there would be, it's hard to really narrow it down to one because I really would love to go to St. Andrews, the home of golf.
I was going to say, like, for me, it would be Augusta. I'd really like to go play Augusta, but St. Andrews would be, I mean, that's the epicenter of golf, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I would say that. And then obviously Augusta National, if you were able to, but I think what a cool trip would also be, would be Bandon Dunes. That would be like probably one of my ultimate like weekend or like a 3 or 4 day golf trip, because they have several courses out there. I don't know if you're familiar with Bandon Dunes out on the.
Actually, Mac, our manager, or one of the owners at our home course, he just went to Bandon Dunes a few weeks back.
Yeah, and what it was is experience. Did you
I haven't talked to him much about it. Like the one day they went to play and it was just like pouring rain, but they were there, so they had to play. And then I think the next day he said it was like really, really good. He's a golf nut, so he loved it.
Sure. I think the other reason why I would like that is because it is kind of that they enrich that home of golf, St. Andrews-esque style of golf. So it's very, you'll see some videos of people playing it and the winds are howling like, I mean, the flag stick is just going nuts. And it's like,
golf
like,
isn't more difficult enough, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just adding extra elements. But yeah, I mean, again, it's hard to narrow it down to one. But if I'm going to say like out of the country, it'd probably be St. Andrews. Here would be Augusta or Pebble Beach or Bandon. It's hard to narrow it down. And
Pebble would be a nice one to be on that bucket list too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys, we've talked to OB Golf too, but I think technically from most people's perspective of golfing those courses, I think it's Spanish Bay or Spyglass is actually the nicer course of all that, because there's Spanish Bay, Spyglass, and then Pebble.
Yeah.
And I think Pebble with obviously hole number 7 and just the rich history behind it. So
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like if I had to play one here and someone's like, "Hey, you want to go play Pebble?" Yeah.
You'd be crazy not to, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's very expensive though. I actually had a family friend, their father or their grandpa went out and played. It was kind of like a bucket list thing for him too. And they played, and it's extremely difficult to get on. You have to like almost have a hotel or rent a resort out there. Otherwise, but I want to say it was $500 to $600 minimum, and that's American dollars. So yeah, and then you have to have a caddy.
Yeah.
So that's easily
so
$100.
We talked about it on yours at the podcast that we listened to. So the Glorified Donkeys podcast, those guys caddy at Pebble.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm sure you can.
Their podcast is just on the stories of like their caddying, and
that would be really interesting. I'd have to check that out, because I don't think
some of the stories are like belly laughing type of stuff, man. And
they got some good stuff on there for sure.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
When we go out of town and we do our day trips to go do our tour dates and stuff, that's what we listen to on the way.
What was it called?
Glorified
Donkeys.
Glorified Donkeys. Okay, yeah, I'll have to check that out.
And again, check those guys out, because it gets out of control.
We talked about it before too. It's like I've never played where we've used a caddy before, but I definitely want to do that, because I said they either will make or break your game.
I don't know if I'd want to put a dude through that with me. I mean, like dude, and again, like those guys would say, from the first shot you can tell what kind of day you're going to have, and I would definitely be terrified to hit that first drive and look back at him and him look at me and go, yeah, it's gonna be a long damn day.
Right. So I told him give him a quick tip before it starts and just say, hey, I don't really care about you telling me what to do. I just need you to be my hype man. You know what I mean? I'm gonna suck regardless, but just be my hype man and keep me positive, because at the end of the day, they're working to get a tip too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So,
all right, fellas. Well, I mean, this has been an absolute blast, and I don't want to eat up all of our topics because I'd love to do this again.
Sure, absolutely.
So, I mean, let's
reconnect down the road.
Yeah, for sure. We'll reconnect mid-season or something. And get in touch with you guys. Definitely, for all of our listeners out there, make sure you guys check out Save Par Golf or Save Par podcast and give these guys a listen. And thanks for joining us today, guys. It's been a blast.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
This has been great. So, yeah, we'll keep in touch.
Awesome.
All right,
Sounds good. Take care.
All right, we'll see you guys. May your mulligans be plenty and your hats be findable. Later.